I've got another knife review for you today, but just before I start, if you happen to hear any squealing in the background, it's just next door's neighbours that way playing with the kids. There's no pigs being tortured or anything like that. So this is a knife that you have seen briefly when I did the unboxing. It's the other Hen Rooster knife that I won in Stefan Schmalhouse's competition. It's the stag handled Stockman. It's an absolute beauty, and if you join me at the desktop, we'll have a closer look. Okay, so here we have the Hen Rooster Stockman in its very tasteful green and silver box. As with the other one, it comes wrapped in a paper roll, and this is the knife itself. So we'll start off with the size comparison. We've got the Victorinox Spartan, and also the WR Case & Sons medium Stockman. So as you can see, it's slightly smaller than both. The specs are, the close length is 85mm, which is a shade under 3 3/8. We've got a standard Stockman layout. The largest blade is the clip blade, which is 65mm with a 57mm cutting edge. So that's 2.5 inches overall with a 2 1/4 inch cutting edge. And as you can see, the nail nick is a rectangular nail nick, whereas on the spade blade and on the sheep's foot, it's the more usual curved nail nick. These two are pretty much the same size, 42mm with a 35mm cutting edge, which is 1 5/8 with a 1 3/8 cutting edge. On the tang stamps, we have the Hen Rooster logo, Solingen, Germany, and on the other side it says Bertram Cutlery Rost Fry stainless. Don't know what steel this is, I've struggled to find out. The build is standard as you would expect for a Stockman. It's slip joint. We've got 2 back springs with brass liners and a brass centre spacer, stag handle scales, and fairly squared off bolsters. 3 pins on each side, and the Hen Rooster logo badge there. I just want to bring back in the case knife for a moment, just for comparison. I would imagine perhaps more people might be familiar with the case Stockman. This is the pocket worn model, meaning the scales and pins have had a bit more machining so that they're all smooth and rounded, and as you can see, it's a very thin uniform thickness scale on each side, whereas on the Hen Rooster the scales are quite thick in the middle and they taper down at each edge, and they're machined very square. This surface is completely, well, it's curved in that direction, but it's flat, it's not curved that way. And similarly on the front edge, the machining is very square, whereas on the Stockman it's rounded. Thought this was a bit odd at first. I'd not come across this kind of finish, but when you think about it, these are handmade, and I think it does show really how the process of putting the knives together happens, because whereas this is all smooth and finished off, you can imagine these pieces of antler being sawn and then perhaps having a quick sanding to get them flat, and then when they're fitted, they're machined again that way. And I think it's really rather nice, because the point of the Pocket Worn series case is that all this smoothness and rounding off is meant to replicate sort of 20 years of carrying it in your front pocket and it getting worn and smoothed and all the edges taken off simply by time. Whereas with the Hen Rooster, you're going to have to achieve that effect by carrying it in your pocket for 20 years, while all the corners just get slightly smoothed off and rounded. And if you're going to carry this as an everyday pocket knife, that would be really nice, because over the years you'd be able to see the knife mellowing, I suppose you could say. Now let's have a look at the edges. We'll just do the big clip point blade for now. Quite a narrow, elegant blade. Piece of catalogue paper. Now, as you can see, it's cutting, but it's far from gliding through. And in fact, there is some tearing going on there. This could be seen as an issue and a bit of a disappointment, but I think it's a good point here to mention that the degree of sharpness that we expect as knife nuts is way above normal everyday sharpness that will keep most people happy. If we've got 5 pieces here of the same paper, and if you cut through like that, you can see it's cut quite cleanly through 3 of the 5. No, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, through 4 of the 5, and it is a clean cut. And also, if we fold it that way, try to get this on, keep this on camera rather, it cuts that way, and that is more than sharp enough for most people. Most people wouldn't think that was blunt, but I think it will benefit from stropping just to get it gliding through the paper. I think you can actually, on that side I can feel a burr, so we just need to take that burr off. Being a traditional slip joint, it's a full flat grind with a very small secondary bevel, and it's just that bevel that's rough. Feels okay that way until you get to the tip, but where you saw it ripping, there's some burr along there. But that's only going to be a matter of moments, and I don't think it detracts from the knife. The fit and finish is lovely. This is the first knife I've had with stag scales, and it's interesting, you can almost see the cell structure in the antler there under the coloured surface layer. There's just one small blemish. This bolster, the inside edge isn't crisp and square, so you just see a tiny little space there between the bolster and the liner. Again, it's a handmade product. If you want complete perfection, complete identikit parts. You probably just want a factory knife that's been stamped out and CNC'd and everything's exactly the same. Somebody's actually sat down at a bench and spent the afternoon putting this together, which I think is brilliant. So that is the Hen Rooster Stag Handle Stockman. Because I won this in a competition, I don't know what the retail price for this would be. From what I can see of similar knives, it's probably going to be in the £50 to £80 price bracket, which I would be more than happy to pay for this knife. I think it's a little beauty. We've just got the, there we've got the sheep's foot. Sorry about that. The memory card ran out. It was whittering on for too long, so we'll try and wind this up quickly. As I was saying, we've got the nice sheep's foot blade there, and completing the set is the little spay blade. That feels a bit rough at the tip, but they are going to get stropped. And then the last thing to do, I think, is just to weigh the knife. We'll start off just for comparison with the case medium Stockman, which is very slightly longer but narrower. That's 66.2 grams. .34 ounces, whereas the Hen Rooster is 2.09 ounces, so it's about a third of an ounce less. .59 grams. So it's very definitely an option for a classy traditional pocket knife, UK legal, as it's a slip joint, it's under 3 inches, and yeah, I think all in all it's a little cracker. So I'll leave you with some screenshots, and I hope you found that interesting. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.